everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Life with Patty. And it's time, folks, for another movie review. Now, if you saw, I did my 14 Days of Valentine's, and Kathy sent me some movies, and I am getting to watching those, but I have 5 movies here, and they are not any of Kathy's. I'm going to watch some of those this weekend, hopefully. But I do have 5 movies here that I'm going to review for you that I've watched over the last week or so. Most of these are pretty common movies. You've probably seen all of them. I don't know, maybe not. So the first one I'm going to review, you might not have seen. But let's get started. And yeah, I love watching my movies. You guys all know that. And for those of you that are new and this is your first time, most of my movies are not brand new releases. They're old movies. I have tons of DVDs. I should show you my DVD collection in one of my videos. Probably won't be today, but I will show you soon my DVD collection. It's crazy. It's not near as much as like Miranda. Miranda's Halls and More. She has a awesome collection. And I think sometimes I have so many movies and I'm the movie buff. And then people will say, have you watched this movie, this movie, this movie? And I haven't watched any of them. So I have a lot of movies to watch. So we're going to start out with the first one here, Nights in Rotadine. Oh my gosh. I think I've seen it about 10 times. It's been out for... it looks like it says since 2008. I thought it was older than that. But anyways, Richard Gere, Diane Lane. Have you noticed that they play in quite a few movies together? So it's a good movie. It really is. He's a doctor. She just is freshly separated from her husband, who had cheated on her. And then all of a sudden he wants to get back together. He's sorry for what he's done. Her best friend owns this B&B on the ocean, and so her friend can't go, so she says, why don't you go ahead and go to the B&B, get away from the family for a day or two, and you can run it for this doctor that's coming. He's coming by himself, and he just has to get out of town and chill. So he comes. She does the normal B&B stuff where she makes his dinner and puts it out for him. And he comes into the kitchen. He doesn't want to be alone. Well, come to find out, he's come here this far. He's a doctor. His son's a doctor. His wife's a doctor. He and his wife are separated. His son and him have an estranged relationship, even though they're both doctors and they work at the same hospital. He has a patient that comes in, and it's a 1 in 50,000 person chance that they will react to anesthetics or whatever, and this woman reacts to it and dies. And so he's come to this town to apologize to the husband and the son. And so I'll let you watch the movie if you haven't, to see what happens and what comes out of it. The ending is sad, and you're like, ugh, but the ending's sad, but it's still a good ending, in a roundabout way, if that makes sense. So I've watched it about 10 times. I'd watch it again, but I am trying to go through all my DVDs and watch them. So as I watch these movies, I'm putting them on a separate shelf until I've watched all my DVDs. Because if I'm not going to watch them, I need to get rid of them. And I have so many that I've never watched. So I do like this one. Great movie. Last weekend, I watched this one, The Parent Trap. This is the newer Parent Trap. And this is Lindsay Lohan when she was younger, Dennis Quaid and Natasha Richardson. And you know what? I love the old Parent Trap. But this one, to me, is just as good. And of course, that they're twins that have been separated because their parents got a divorce. One lives in London, one lives in Napa, California. They go to a camp and they meet up and they realize that they're twins. They've been separated and they want to go back and meet their other parents. So the one cuts her hair so it looks like the other one. The one from England teaches the one from California how to talk with a London accent. And I'm sure most of you have seen it, but it's just a wonderful, clean-hearted family movie. If you haven't seen it and you have kids between the ages of 6 and 12, this is a great movie that they would really love to watch. So Here's a great one that I've watched over and over and over again. I'll watch it over and over and over again as well. Here is my third movie. I don't even want to tell you how many times I've watched it because I really don't know. The Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez and my boyfriend, Matthew McConaughey. Oh my goodness. This is such a great movie where she's a wedding planner. She's planning a wedding, does not know that she's planning it for him and his fiance, and she gets her stiletto shoe stuck in somewhere on the road in one of those vents, and she's gonna get hit by a truck, and he runs out and of course saves her, you know, like Prince Charming. And then anyways, they get to know each other, they fall for each other hard, yet he's gonna marry somebody else. And then her father is widowed. His wife, her mother, has passed away, and he really wants his daughter to be happy and get married. So she plays an Italian in this movie, and her father sends for this Italian boy that she knew when she was little, that her father's trying to arrange their marriage. Of course, she's not going to want any part of it. And you just have to watch the rest if you've never watched it to see, does she marry the Italian boy her father set her up with? Does she marry him? Does she not marry anybody? I can't give it away. You've got to watch it if you haven't seen it. It's a great movie. This next one is with Sean Penn and Michelle Pfeiffer. I've watched it a million times as well. It's called I Am Sam. And this is Sam. And Sam has special needs. He's slow. He ends up getting a prostitute pregnant, and he doesn't know she's a prostitute. She has the baby, and she leaves it at the hospital with him. He's there for the birth and everything. And then all of a sudden, they're getting ready to go home. He thinks they're going to be a family. She takes off. Well, that leaves him with the baby. He has no clue how to raise it. His next door neighbor in this apartment complex, this woman who is, what do you call that? Agoraphobic or something like that, where they're afraid to go out of their home. She hasn't been out of her house for her apartment for 20 years. Anyways, she is helping him over the phone how to take care of his baby, whose name is Lucy. And he raises Lucy up until she's about 8 years old. And then it's getting harder and harder to raise her. And social services ends up coming in, taking Lucy away, and he's got to find a lawyer. And he has a group of friends, all from his special needs group that he hangs around with. And they're trying to find him a lawyer. She's not giving him the time of day. She's all wound up in her own life. And then somebody says, oh, you would never do a pro bono, laughing at her, one of the other lawyers in this big firm. And she's like, oh, sure, I will. Well, it's by fluke and accident that she takes him as a promo case. But she ends up really learning a lot from Sam herself. And it's just a really good movie. You know, Lucy ends up going to a foster family that really love her, taking care of her. But Sam is just a genuine good person all around. And so you see in the movie how they all become blended into one family. It's just such a good feel-good movie. So if you haven't seen it, I know Sean Penn won some Academy Awards for this. Yeah, he won the 2001, so it's 20 years old. Academy Award nominee. Oh, okay, he was the nominee. He won for Best Actor. But it's a great movie. You guys need to watch it. And my last one for today is 50 First Dates with, of course, Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. I don't even know how many times I've watched this movie because it's so funny. And then parts of it aren't funny, but it's so funny. And I always say I don't like Adam Sandler, but yet I like a lot of his movies, so I really must like some of his acting. Where he meets her, and they live in Hawaii. She lives in Hawaii. She was in a car wreck, and it gave her amnesia. And her father and her brother are kind of sugarcoating it for her. So every day they take out the same newspaper for her, and she reads the same newspaper, and she thinks it's her father's birthday. They have a cake every single day. She is an artist, and she paints this wall, and he repaints it white every day to give her something to do. And then Adam Sandler comes along, and he is smitten for her, and he thinks, oh, wow, I've, made an impression on this girl. She likes me. He goes back the next day. Of course, she doesn't remember him, and he's like, what the heck? And it's at this restaurant that she goes to every morning for breakfast. And it's just kind of comical. They make bets on if he's going to actually get to sit down with her at the table, the people that work at the restaurant. It's a good movie. It's just a good, lighthearted movie. I don't want to give any of the ending away if you've never seen it. I'm sure all of you have seen it, but if you haven't, you really need to watch this. So those are my 5 movies for today's movie review. Let me know which ones you've watched and which ones you haven't watched. I bet you a lot of you have watched all of them. I'm kind of thinking a lot of you maybe have not watched Nights in Rotadine, and maybe some of you haven't watched I Am Sam, but I'm thinking for the rest, you've watched them all. So now it's time to get started on some new movies. I'm going to watch one of Kathy's tonight and start my new pile for my next movie review. So you guys all have a great day and take care, and I'll see you back here real soon. Bye-bye.